Right, so there's only a few questions to go through from over the weekend. You'll note that the Swiss National Bank didn't do much, or didn't. Sorry, the Swiss people didn't vote. Excuse me, didn't vote the silly idea through. So um, it's the Swiss is getting a little weaker. Gold certainly getting weaker. Um, if we go and have a look at, you can see where's gold? Gold's here. Gap down this morning. Um, this commodities across the whole are getting pretty weak, and we can see oil has just fallen right out of bed, as has copper. Um, yeah, so there was a question here. Someone's asked me. You mentioned the impact of oil prices. I'm assuming gold and a few other commodities also have an impact. Um, is there a code so I can put them into MT4 or e-signal? E-signal, you should be able to find a symbol search um, and how to operate that. But if you've got a broker that shows you all of this in MT4, you can they'll just list it there for you. So there's copper, platinum, crude oil, Brent oil, um, yeah, coffee, soybeans. But you weren't supposed to move. Go back there. The base commodities such as copper and iron ore, you will struggle to get a chart because it's not easily traded through an exchange. But so you can use copper as the bellwether. Now, copper has an impact on Aussie dollars as well as has an impact on Canadian dollars. Oil has an impact on the Canadian dollar and the Norwegian and the Russian ruble. Um, Gold will have an impact on South African rand. So these are the sort of base commodities that would have an effect on things. Oil would also have a big effect on the Singapore dollar as well, I'd suggest, because they've got a huge refinery. It's one of the largest businesses is refining oil. So it's an idea to keep an eye on these things and see how they're affecting um, your trading, because obviously we all got in. I know a lot of people did get into this the other day, and that's the Canadian dollar and the oil prices obviously having a big impact on that. Yeah. So um, to find oil in e-signal, I'm not sure of the code, but I'm sure they have a symbol search in e-signal that you could get the code from. I think it would be WTI $, either probably the $sign before the WTI, maybe. Yep. I'm not going to start e-signal up here because it'll crash this webinar. Another question was on the Euro Swiss. ActiTrader risk department increased the initial margin rate from 100 to 1 to 50 to 1. That's obviously over the because the Euro Swiss has the floor. They're trying to protect you guys as much as as much as themselves against the volatility over the weekend's vote. If the vote had gone through, that floor would have been, 120 would have been under serious pressure. As it happened, the market rallied away from it, and they'll probably lower the margins back down to 100 to 1. So it's just the initial margin requirement, so the leverage is not going to kill you. And you can see it gapped open quite significantly. Well, it's not significantly, it's only 15 pips or so, but it looks significant on that chart. So stop loss on that is now break even, and so that's the initial margin on that. It's just a protection thing, and they'll probably lower it back down again now. If the vote had gone ahead, how would have that impacted the market? Well, gold price would have rallied because they would have had to purchase a lot of. They've got 1,040 tons of gold, and that's only 8% of their balance sheet. And so they would have had to buy quite a bit more if they needed to be 20% of their balance sheet. But it would have been happening over 3 years. However, that would have obviously given the gold price a huge boost, and gold could have easily gone jumped up to sort of 1250 or even higher, and would have rotated higher eventually anyway. This pair here, the Euro Swiss, would have been under a lot of pressure. They have the floor in, and they would have been having to defend it. What moves they would have done is to try and protect that, maintain that floor there. I'm not sure they would have had to get pretty active in the marketplace to defend it. But they may have moved the floor or potentially taken the floor away, which would have. What that ends up doing is increasing the strength of the Swiss currency, and that's what they're trying to defend, because they're trying to obviously compete with the European Union in terms of keeping their currency low. And whilst the European Union is struggling to get out of the doldrums, the Swiss currency is attractive for people. They move their money there. The vote wasn't only on the SMB. There was also another vote on a tax on the millionaires, which also got rejected. So they have an interesting way of running things over there. What's called a direct democracy. Seems to work a hell of a lot better than the democracy we've got down under. But anyway, So the impact on this is, I don't, it may have slipped under 120 for a period of time, but I think the 120 would have held. Be that as it may, it's all rather theoretical because it didn't happen, and I doubt it will happen in the future. 120 is going to be defended and will continue to, price will continue to hold above it. Then got a Kiwi question. There is a chart, but it's embedded in the chart, so it's hard to sort of hard to show you the chart, but there wasn't much on it. There was just a couple of trend lines. And the question is, it's been in a wedge for some time, or forming a wedge. Kiwi last 2 days have been bearish, but also looks like it's a wedge forming, may indicate indecision. Still tempting to place a sell stop underneath last Friday's bar. Risk reward questionable. Maybe 100 pip stop loss for 160 target. That's okay. It's not a bad risk reward. It's at least 1.5. It's much better than 1 to 1. Look, if that's your trading concept, then you can certainly do that. With wedges like that, you won't get a retest. It's rare that you get a retest. It's just you're trading the break. Trading this ring high here, bearish ring high, and going underneath that this morning, it doesn't really fit my rules in terms of are we getting lower highs and lower lows. It doesn't mean you can't trade it. It's just not trading it using my rules, and that's fine. I don't mind you trading your own methodology, but certainly if it's making money. But as always, I ask you to record it and record it properly, so then if things go pear-shaped, we can have a look at your trading journal in terms of screenshots and stuff, so we can work out what's going on. So you're either trading the break. You'll notice your trend line, you went to that low there. It was more to try and get to work for you, but I would have gone there. Your entry would then be 77.95, something like that. And your stop should be on the other side of that wedge, so it's about 150. Not sure why you've targeted 160. There's where's support in this thing. Once it gets through there, support, next support is really down around here somewhere. 75. There's a bit of a support level there, as you can see from the weekly. And perhaps that might make you go, well, do I really want to sell this now? And your risk reward, you might then change the structure of the trade a little bit to change the trade plan a little bit rather than risking 150 pips. It's all a bit messy, and I'd rather stay out of it. But if you want to structure something and get short, go for it. Just record how you've done it. Yeah, looking at the shorter time frame, I think it's and this then brings me to the Kiwi trade. Sorry, the yen question. So I'll move away from the Kiwi, but I'll answer that in terms of looking at it in the shorter time frames. When you this question here has come up about the yen. It says, I missed the 4-hour trade this morning. This email came in Friday afternoon. And I was looking whether there's some other justification for entering a position. The trend is so steep, it is well overextended, and it's so far from the 50 EMA. It's difficult to justify any entry on the daily charts based on cyclicity arguments. It is, however, cycling along the 50 EMA on the 4-hour chart, and so when you put an EMA on the 8 on the daily chart, you can see the cyclicity. It seems to be forming a ring low off the 8, and in case it completes the ring low on Monday morning, I went through the analysis and came up with the charts. Bit of a stretch. Yeah, look, the concept, the issue I have here is because it's so overextended and it's so far away from the moving average of 50, this red one here. I really don't see it. I do see it getting to $1.20, but I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. It's not going to run like it did back here. That was in the news announcement, and you're already over there. I can imagine that price is probably just going to trade sideways a little bit. That said, I don't mind you trading in here. It's just I think you're risking maybe 150 pips to get that. But if you come down and look at the 4-hour, you're not, as you mentioned, it's cycled off the 50. It was cycling along the 20. The biggest thing for me is what you need to have is the market coming off a horizontal of note, and finding, this was off 17 effectively, and finding reasons why the market should be bouncing off these lines. It's not the 50 EMA. Whilst it looks like the 50 EMA, it's really, the market doesn't, the 50 EMA comes after the fact. If you understand what I mean, it's the price is printed and then you get this 50 EMA. However, horizontals, are much stronger. So with the daily, there's a little bit of a horizontal there, but there's not much else anywhere, back here. So off the daily, that horizontal doesn't look that strong. On the 4-hour, it does look a little bit stronger. Yep. And therefore, you're only sort of risking maybe 50 or 60 pips, and you're only trading the phase 1 on the 4-hour. And so then you get to hit my target on Friday night, and it was 2 times. Well, it was a 2% return trade. So in that you're trading with the sentiment, and you're going with that. And I just don't see you hitting your target here on the daily. To me, what you're trying to do here now is almost FOMO trade because it's gone on and run, and you missed a 4 hour, and you're going, well, fuck, I want to have a bit of that action. But you'd be better off, I think, the probabilities of the trade being successful are limited. Whereas if you're patient and wait for more cyclicity on the 4 hour, this may not even make a higher high here. It might really struggle to get through 19. And then, you're what that would happen then is you've got severe divergence and a double top here. That could happen. It could continue, but it's so far gone. I really don't think it's going to get all the way up here to 20, and so therefore you should be looking at the shorter time frame. So, and that's what I'm talking about with all of these. Like when I was writing my report, is look at the cyclicity on the shorter time frame. Is be patient. The Aussie's going to come back up and test these lows here on the hourly, and if it swings off that, if it swings off these lows here, well, let's call it 85 cents. It may not be 85, but around here, 85. Yeah, let's call it off these lows here. If it comes and swings off that later today, then that's what I'm talking about by waiting for the opportunities in the shorter time frame. Yeah, and it'll come back up here, swing off 50 EMA. You can start putting the fibs on it as well, and then you just patiently wait for it to come back up here, and 50 fib horizontal, 50 EMA, swing high. If that happens, get short, because the daily is not yet overdone. Similarly with the Kiwi, the daily's got, in fact, in the Kiwi, the daily's got a lot more room to move. Yeah, and so that it's a safer sort of, whilst the shorter time frames are inherently riskier because of the higher volatility, but you're not in the trade for all that long. Fucking little ants everywhere. And you're not sort of trading out of, I've missed the opportunity. There would have been a 4 hour in there, but 124 is a big support. I'm not really liking that price action all that much. But here on the one, on the hourly, you might look to be risking sort of, what is that, about 20 pips, and you could be targeting 40 pips, something like that. Yeah. I just think that yen one is a bit of a stretch. Does that make sense, mate? I know you're online now. Maybe I'm not being all that clear, I don't know. Yeah, okay. I know it's frustrating to see good trades like that and not be in them. Yeah, but I think it's better to be able to just be patient and wait for the cyclicity on the shorter time frame. Yeah, be mindful of what bars like this are going to be showing you. I mean, that to me, when you see which one's going to show me to you, maybe the pound. And when you see bars like this, then it's maybe not. Bars like that, it's the 4 hour, when you're in a trend and you get these reversal bars like this, that's literally the 4 hour giving you cyclicity. Yeah. So you can see that cycle there and this cycle here are those two reversal bars in a downtrend. And that's just gives you the cyclicity on the 4 hour. And that's when you look for those opportunities. And again, on the 4 hour, if there's reversal bars or little pullbacks like this, that'll be the 1 hour giving you cyclicity. Yeah. That little pullback there is perhaps the phase 2 on the 1 hour where we can nab an opportunity. Yeah. Okay. So that's all the questions for today. Not much out there at the moment to look at, really. US dollar, DKK. US dollar. Really? Where the hell is it? This thing? Yeah, what about it? You want to trade that? The krone. Yeah, I suppose that's a fair. You could be looking at that. The US dollar is obviously gaining strength. There's a bit of a resistance level there, which you want to be a little careful about. But certainly the momentum's coming off the right area. Again, I prefer it to be down here like this, but look at the ATRs. Obviously, the volatility is increasing compared to what it was back here. Yeah, worth a little bit of risk. Yeah. I don't particularly trade out in these exotics. Certainly not going to look at that or that. What the hell is that? What's this? Romania. I mean, who the hell would want to trade Romania? Lira. Czech. Yeah, all of these are all just looking rubbish up here. SEK. Yeah, it's motoring along. Ruble. Putin's fucked. Yeah, that would have been a nice trade. I was waiting for that to come down and get this high here. It didn't quite get there, and then it really ran. Oh, Putin, stuffed, mate. There's all of these ones are all looking very similar in terms of they're turning and off. Well, really, it's around there, isn't it? Turning off highs, and they all could be worth looking at. That's. I don't trade them, so but don't mind if you do. I don't care. But there's certainly you're getting the market cycling and coming back off a horizontal, so that's all good. Same with the DKK one. This oil price, yeah, it's gone. Dollar knock, it's nailed. That one's too far gone. You can't trade that. But again, the gap down might have been something on the 4 hour. No, you're not going to be able to trade that. Peso. Yeah, it's too. Yeah, you can't get into that. It's too far gone. Need to wait for a cycle. That one's already moving. Yeah, gold price getting toasted. Yeah, this one. There was a long-term trend, I believe, for a pretty steep trend. Yeah. Pretty good-looking trend, isn't it? Certainly there's another little wedge in here. Big resistance up there though as well. Yeah, big resistance. You know, this one, if you should be looking at it back down here at the high of this. So if you're wanting this one, you need to have a limit order in there. You're not chasing the market. It's not exactly clean. There's no real horizontal. That's the horizontal's down here. Yeah. Yeah. It's more. I feel that's more chasing the market than trading it. Dollar Sing is same thing. Oil price, US dollar ring low. It's all there. Getting a little overdone, and same with the CAD actually, just quietly. It's getting up there. And if this stays as a buyer bar, I'll be moving my stop to break even. I don't know how far. I haven't got it in yet, but that's my target, which is about 2 times the risk. And that's also the 1.618 extension from here. Okay, I'll show you. But my concern with this pair is we're getting pretty high on the momentum already. So don't know how much there's in this. As I said, tomorrow morning, if this is a buyer bar, I'll get my stop to break even because just looking a little tricky. Swissy, since the floor, it's a little weak. Yen, we've looked at, it's running. Kiwi, yeah, I just see it as mess, and I always get nailed on trading the Kiwi, so fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. The pound, I just don't see why everybody's selling this pair. It's so overdone. It's unnecessary. It's a good little currency pair. Well, economically they're doing all right. You know? I know people think that it's caught up with the European mess, but you know, despite that, they're still doing pretty good economic data. Bit of support here, nice round number of 156. So I'm not in this pair. In fact, the only pair I'm sorry is the dollar CAD really. So because I'm not in this pair, momentum's sort of here, getting a little leery. I prefer to see a break through this support and then retest it. Don't know about it. I can't bring myself really to sell it, but I will if the opportunity arises, of course. But I just don't know if there's going to be an opportunity to sell it. Certainly not going to trade this on a daily with looking at getting short underneath this bar here. It's a freaking 150 pip stop. You're going to get 300 pips out of this. This is going to 52. Where's 52? Down 52 down here. Big support at 52 by the look of it. But yeah, I think that'll be a struggle to get that. Can't bring myself to do that. Same with this. This one here is 124 is quite a level. This one's got a little more momentum to be able to get through it. Literally, 125, 124. Done a lot of work here, building a pretty good base. 124, and then you got after that you got 123, and then 120. Yeah, because of all this work that's done through here, even the lower time frames aren't that cyclical. Yeah, makes it pretty hard to sort of trade. How come if I place my finished trade in the chart, those symbols appear in other currency charts? What? If I place my finished trade in the chart, okay, because what you're doing is you're probably then going, okay, dragging and dropping like that, trying to put a chart over, rather than sort of having the tabs already open, you're dragging and dropping them like this. Yeah. So if you've got your historical trade and putting it into that, so you can see that on your MT4, it's most likely you're dragging and dropping it. So I would suggest create profile pages like I've got, and then you don't have to do that. Yep. Aussie dollar, as I mentioned, well, I didn't, but the Aussie dollar is through this massive level here. It was floating around with it on Friday. It finally sort of moved away from it. Nice high test bar there on it. Missed that one. Where was I Friday night? Yeah. Again, you need to see now on the daily. You want to come back, get it to come back and retest it. A little overdone, or getting overdone on the daily. 4 hourly certainly toasted. Hourly's, if it comes back and gives you, as I said, some sort of trade off that, it might be all right. But literally, if we look at these fibs that I've got and where they've come from, yeah, so you can see that low and these lows. There's nothing here. There's absolutely no support until we get to 79.50 or 80 cents. Yeah. Big gap in the market. Bye bye Aussie. With copper and ore prices, iron ore and copper all falling, this got not much support left in it. So you need to get in on it, not trading on the daily because it's overdone, but wait for it to cycle back if it does. But you can certainly sort of trade any pullback and retest of support on the shorter time frames. Yeah. So my yen hit target on Friday, and this one also hit target on Friday, so I've got really no trades on except for the CAD. Where is it? Pound rock. Right, this one. This one also hit target on Friday. I'll probably keep going past my target, but it's okay. Made 3 times my risk. Two times my risk, I think. What? Yeah. It's not yet. Okay. The profit you make in November, a lot of you did, which is fabulous, stays in your account until the end of the quarter. So even if you get upgraded, your account gets upgraded, and there's been quite a few of those this month as well, because of good October and good November. The profit you made stays in your account. We don't pull it out until the end of the quarter. We only pay at the end of the quarter, so I don't need invoices just yet. I need invoices in January for what your accumulated balances are at the end of the calendar quarter, which is December 31st. Yep. And yeah, big congratulations to everybody who has done that. And really, it's good stuff to see. Just quickly flick through these other pounds. Yeah, messy shit. Pound Swiss. This one, stronger Swissy. That's right on a bit of a level here. It's tricky. You do have a lower high, lower low. The seller bar. A little bit tricky to trade that one though. Also a cycle, perhaps something to look at tomorrow if the cable gets weaker, because you've got a high test bar testing all these lows here. You just need to see them selling today. If they're selling today, then there's an opportunity for a trade tomorrow. Pound yen. Bit of a selling there, isn't it? And clear divergence. Trade that one at your own risk. I would not suggest buying yen at any stretch of the imagination. Certainly you've got a ascending triangle there. I would not try and trade against this. I'd try and trade with it, going long. Pound Kiwi. It's just a mess. Euro pound. I tried to range trade it, and that didn't work. Made a basically scratched break even the trade. Would you be taking it higher now? I can't bring myself fundamentally to look at that euro pound to but I just can't be buying pounds and selling buying euros and selling pounds. That just doesn't make sense to me. Again, that's just messy, and I really don't want to look at it. I don't want to look at these things either. Pound sec. Just don't know why you'd take on the risk of trading crap out there. Aussie CAD. It's middle of phase 2. Aussie Swiss. It's out of the range. Come back and retest it. It's broken out of it now. These are all, excuse me, these are all fanning out nicely. But yeah, if it comes back and retests that level, that is the opportunity. Is there an opportunity now? No, but you might look at it again, shorter time frames. Tricky. Very tricky, Ricky. I don't see anything there either. Eternal disappointment, this pair. Can't trade that, but it's overdone. It's just not coming off as horizontal that I can see. Yeah, it's like the Aussie dollar. It's already. It's looking at its Aussie thing. It's looking like it's at the end of the move. Your Aussie, like the Aussie Swiss, it's out of the range now. You want to see in this cycle come back and retest a horizontal and then trade it, because now you've got the cyclicity on the upside, and that's just messy. Yeah, Euro Aussie has also broken out. Yeah, so, but I need to see, before I'm going to start really playing with this, I need to see this phase 1, phase 2 complete, then I'll take the next phase 1. Right? We now have higher highs and higher lows. There is still some room left in the daily, so that may give you the opportunity to look at the shorter time frame. Right? But literally for the daily, I would wait for the cycle to the full cycle, phase 1, phase 2 to complete, and then look to go long. Yep, and look to go long off a horizontal that you can clearly identify, such as something like that. Yep. Also messy. And I have finally broken below this $1.40 key level here, only just to come back in above that. If you get selling, unlikely, but if you get selling, you know, there might be something in that. You've certainly got trend lines and all sorts of wonderful things that you can use as an excuse to get short. I don't see that happening, not with the oil price affecting the Canadian currency as it is. Yeah. Why aren't you deleting? Oh, okay. Discussed Euro Yen. Also, plenty of room on the daily. Look at the shorter time frames if you want to trade in this. Again, do it off a horizontal, like these highs here. Looks like a good level to trade from, if you get the opportunity. Yeah. No thanks. Well, there was a trade there last week, wasn't there? Then these ones, why even bother friggin', I mean, this is the only one that I do like. It's got a great trend on it. Again, be patient, wait for the cycle. Yeah, it's coming back. There's some lows here or horizontals here that you could say, if we get some low there, highs there, or even around here somewhere. And Fibonacci's, because look at this, has been trending really nicely. Fundamentally though, this may be at some risk, because, and if it is, you may not get the selling, because this is gold price, right? So gold is getting weaker, as we discussed at the start of the session. Yeah, you're seeing stable. Yeah, and why bother? It's just not going to buy again. Don't do it. It's madness at this point. There's obviously a few currencies that are slight weaker than the yen at the moment. Nominally, the commodity currencies being the NOK, the Kiwi, the Aussie, and the Canadian, and that might give you an opportunity to trade the phase two. Personally, I think that's a bit risky. I prefer to be short yen than long it. And so we're looking for trades to take those longer when they appear. And by doing that is by getting into currency pairs that are strong, such as the dollar's strong, the cable is strong, maybe just not as strong as the dollar, but the cable is strong. And the euro, I think, is also starting to get some strength back into it. And that's why I think 124 will probably hold. So, trading these currency pairs shorter, they may pay off for you. To me, it's a tricky game to be long yen when the BOJ is obviously adding stimulus. So, prefer to be trading with the central bank than against it. Okay, real good. I shall see you on Wednesday. I'll be sending out emails in terms of the community thing. A lot of people put their hands up, so they want to participate in their local area. Yeah, so I'll be sending out emails today. So you guys have a good one, and I shall speak to you on Wednesday morning. Why do you do that? Behave yourself. Right. Thank you. Right. Sorry, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. Cheers.